Happy Saturday, everyone. Happy New Year, everyone. We're about to hit that new year. I am super excited about so many things going on in my life right now. I hope you guys are looking forward to an amazing new year as well. Good morning, good afternoon, because I always say morning, but this is a morning for me. It's always a morning for me. I want to say shout out to Ro and Don D for being in the chat first and second. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who has supported the channel this year and everyone who will continue to support the channel. I want to start off by asking everyone who follows, and if you're watching the repeat, to please go and follow my other channel on YouTube as well. I did start my vegan channel, which is Vegan Powers. I am putting out some awesome videos on there. Hey, Britt, some awesome videos there. And a lot of recipes and ideas and experiences and things that I'm experiencing for the first time. One of my recent videos I just did was my recent day out with my husband for his birthday. It was the first time that we went to one of our restaurants that we like, Ruth Chris. And when I would go and eat there before, I couldn't eat this time. And just I talk about that experience. I share several meals that I actually prepare. The last one, I'll show you how to make your own cheese from cashews, y'all. I'm learning so many fun things through this experience. And I'm telling you, it has changed everything about me inside and out. So if you would like to join that journey, I also started on TikTok as well. Now today I am super. Anyone have the link to the other channel? I'll drop it in here for you, Britt. Now I'm super excited about my guest today because you know how I am about the women in the hobby, but I love the ones who really, really do it, you know, not just on a ball python level, you know, but do it on different levels, you know, and this is definitely one of those people. I love true animal lovers. I love people who truly, truly, truly love animals. And you can see it in everything that they do. But I get to learn more about this individual as well because we follow each other, and you know how you follow people, but you just know what they put out. What I love about doing Reptiles and Cocktails is that we literally get to learn different things about the awesome reptile people that we actually share platforms with. And through that, I have actually been able to foster amazing relationships with some of those same people. And so every time that I get to do this show is a blessing. Britt, I dropped it in the chat. I'll pin it in a second. Every time I get to do the show is a blessing, and I'm going to always be grateful for that. And that's the same thing for my Monday show as well. But this one particularly, because it has brought so many bonds, friendship that goes past that first interview that I've done with someone. So right on time with this. My back won't be big another year. Britt, let me tell you, I got your back. So, all right. So I'm going to tell a quick story and I'm going to bring out that one. So if you know me, I've had this conversation about trying vegetarian, vegan over the last 2 years after I had my hysterectomy. And some of the things that I was afraid of, like one of the things was, and I said this when I interviewed Teeny, was people tend to look old. Now, you know, one of my favorite people in the world is vegan. That's Kevin McCurley. And Kevin looks very young for his age. Kevin has really good teeth. Those were his teeth for his age. So there were so many people along the way who would tell you that it's the best thing they ever did. And I follow a lot of groups and chats. I'm telling you, as a person that you know, as a person that you already knew who was active, as a person who you already knew did not like, I wasn't a fat person, you know what I'm saying? But I literally had to recondition my body after this surgery to adapt to what I eat and drink and everything. This last 90 plus days of 4 whole food plant-based dieting has changed my life. Like, it has taken me back to how I felt when I was like seriously my early 20s, probably right before I had kids. That's how I'm feeling today. So if I can share to make anybody else feel like that, That's all I want to do. I can leave this earth saying that I actually help someone change their lives. And I'm talking about things from how your memory just like comes back in really, really strong. Your ability to do things with your body that you had lost to do, you may have lost the ability to do. I shared the story about the arm that was, attacked by the dog. I couldn't do certain things. This was on for a long time. This pinky did not move like this for a long time. Over the last 90 days, it is, every time I do this, I laugh, y'all. It's something like this might be simple to you. This thing wouldn't budge because it connects to all the muscles that was destroyed up in here. But I sit here, I be doing this during the day. Y'all, I can't. But yes, definitely want to share that. So I want to bring on our guest. And thank you so much, Ro. It is definitely Nikki, and I'm going to let Nikki introduce herself. You ready, Nikki?
I'm ready.
So we're going to start with just give everyone a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
Oh, okay. I'm Nikki with 2 Ks, like our wonderful host.
Double K.
It's the only way to do it. We started with reptiles. It's crazy. In March of 22. So we got our first ball python. How it started was my husband went over to his friend's house and he said, "Babe, we have to get a snake." And I was like, "No, you're never bringing one of those things into my house. We can have a dog. We can have anything else, but you cannot bring a snake. I will be dead before you bring a snake in here." Well, then we got a snake.
Well, Barnard is here to see Nikki.
And we got a snake, and then I needed another one, and I needed another one, and I needed another one. Right. And then it was, let's get some rats. And I was like, we're never getting rats. Now you've really lost your mind. That's not happening. And then I fell in love with the rats, and now we have a bajillion of them, and mice. It's great.
So let me tell you, so I kind of shared with you, we started taking the rats and the ASFs to the next level because we want to service the area that we're in. So I do want to talk a lot about that because one of the things that I was just sharing with Nikki, guys, that I'm experiencing, y'all know we always kept the rats and the ASFs in the house in one of the spare bathrooms, right? Welcome, Molly. And in that spare bathroom, they never escaped, happy-go-lucky or whatever. Now we got 1, 2, 3 more racks in the garage now, which is starting the new production of the business side of actually selling in the ASFs and the rats. And it seems like every other day I go out there is an ASF that's not where it's supposed to be. So y'all know me, I'm not killing these animals. Y'all know it's hard for me to even feed the ones that got to get fed. So I found these humane traps, which you can put food in there, it catches them, they go in some kind of way, they get caught in there, and you can catch them and put them back to where they belong. But I'm like, Nikki, like what's the difference from them being in the house and outside? It's like they know they in the garage, like, whoa. So how has that experience been for you transitioning to making it a bigger business?
So we started out with them inside the house too. We actually started with I think it was like a 3 rack or a 4 rack inside the house when my obsession became stronger. And then we realized that they can't live in the house because that just wasn't working. So, gosh, I don't even know. It blew up quickly. We love having them. We use the 1/4 inch for the rats, like the 1/4 inch hardware cloth on the top, but then I think that's what it is. And then the smaller one for the ASFs. We actually moved the ASFs into a different rack. ASFs are not popular here. We can't, you guys over there can sell those things like crazy. Yeah. Not here. We have. So
where are you located?
We're in Washington State.
Okay.
And they're not legal in Oregon, so they can't, like local people can't necessarily access them legally. But yeah, we had like not very many colonies. I think we had like 8 colonies of ASFs, and we're down to like 4 or 5 because nobody wants them. We can't even give them away. So we feed them to our snakes interchangeably. But Yeah, no, we have frozen ASFs in our freezer that just gone to
See,
freezer.
it's amazing. I always
It's crazy.
like, especially on TikTok and stuff like that, we always talk about you cannot foster keeping of animals across the board, because how you might have to keep your animals in Washington State is totally different from how I will keep them here. I'll give you an example with my tegus. My tegus go down for 5 to 6 months every year here in Maryland. If I'm talking to someone from Florida or Texas, they be like, "What? They sleep that long?" I'm like, "Yes, they are down for that long." So that's a perfect example. Here, ASFs are like the steak. People would prefer ASFs than rats. But there's not enough people breeding ASFs. So it's one of the things that I'm trying to do. I definitely want more ASF colonies for the cleaning purposes, number one, than I do the rats. But I'm telling you, I'm like, oh, I don't know about, I can't have y'all just climbing out of here. But we did them the same way we did the ones in the house. So my husband said what he's going to do is probably take the smaller. We got a bunch of the ARS tubs, and he's probably going to use those and just make smaller racks for the ASFs and see if that helps. So from the ball python side of it, when did you start breeding?
We started breeding, wasn't that long ago. So let's see, it's 2023. Now I have to think. This is hard because it's 10 o'clock. I'm just having my coffee. When did we start? Well, we had our first clutch hatch in August.
Okay.
So end of August. And then our second clutch hatched beginning of October. So the spring, we started in the spring of this year.
Okay.
I think it was about February. We went to an expo. We got our biggest girl, and she was the first one that we bred.
And so how many do you think you have now, including the babies, as far as just the breeding stock? Because I know you keep other pets as well.
So that's a funny story. The other day, my husband said, we have about 70 ball pythons. And I was like, I think you're wrong. I think you probably want to count that again. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure it's about 70 or 80. And I was like, all right. So I left the room and I come back in and he's painstakingly standing there counting every bin. 108. We have 108. Okay. Beautiful ball pythons milling about.
It's funny. For the longest time, I kept telling people 88. I was stuck with the number 88, and that was including my 24 pets. I know I have 24 pet snakes at least. I'm not counting the lizards yet, but snakes. And the other day I did a TikTok and I had to go back and recount, and my number was 106. And I'm like, oh, I didn't add the last set of animals, huh? Because they just creep up on you, right?
They do.
They just creep up on you. So with the ball python, what has been your most significant experience with breeding ball pythons? What was the biggest shocker for you, or the biggest thing that made you say, wow, I really love it? Like what was it?
Oh, my husband and I both agree. They're just super calming. They're relaxing. When you hold them, you have to be calm. And so we both have anxiety. So getting the time to sit down and hold one of them and be forced to just be calm and be in the moment, that really changed things for us. And also being able to open up something to other people that other people were so fearful of. My mother-in-law, they live downstairs. We live upstairs. It's beautiful. Some people think we're nuts, but having our own separate living spaces. It depends
on a mother-in-law. If I could take my grandmother-in-law, I wanted her everywhere we were, very close. And to the moment she died, I was very close. Like, I loved her so much. But it was like the battle of her being the grandmother-in-law, and she still had her kids. You know what I'm like? Yeah. Girl, you can't just snatch her away. But she came close enough. She went to stay one of my favorite uncle-in-laws. So she was close enough.
Nice.
So, everybody don't have nightmare in-laws. I would take my in-laws over some of my own blood sometimes. And that's the honest to God truth.
It's true. Yeah. She would come up. They came up often, obviously, upstairs and visit our son. And she's like, I'm coming up, but I don't want to see your snake. Because we only had one then, and he was in a big glass tank. He was our show feature, Erebor. Oh my God. She was like, I won't even walk into the kitchen. I will just walk by. I'm not going to. Now she has one. We got her one for her birthday. She has her own snake downstairs. She wants more snakes. So there we go.
And that's the beauty of it. One of the things that I was sharing, I had an educator come on the other day because I write the National Institute of Health every 6 months, the same letter until they respond. Hey, Elias. I write them a letter because I want someone to actually put in play, and I'm willing to help, and I'm willing to find all the people they need to help to show the benefit. An educator asked me, what would you want me to know as an educator about reptiles if I was talking to someone else to bring them in an educational system? And I said, the main thing I want you to know is that y'all dealing every day with people with mental illnesses, social anxiety, and people with physical disabilities, that these animals help more than some dogs and cats, right? And so I said, and that's one of the reasons why on this podcast, if you don't offer that, I ask at the end. I ask every single person, what is your disability? And I tell people I'm going to ask that because, some people think disability, they be like, ain't nothing wrong with me. No, you keep reptiles. I get the person who get the snake, the one snake, and they went to a pet store. It was cool. But when you start to build the bill of feeding an animal and build it over and over and over again, it's bigger than you just liking the snake. You are in need of that animal for some reason or another. So I always get people to tap in. Not one person has ever said, I don't know what they do for me. Every single person can roll it right off their tongue what a reptile does for them. And that to me is a big step. And I put that in my letter to NIH, Nikki. I say, if you don't want to value the information that I am bringing to you, because I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not. I can bring people together, even including some people who are mastering in the mental health, let them see it on a local social level, the power of these animals, and then y'all can take it to the next level. I'm willing to do the discovery part for you in the documenting, using your people who are bias to us proving what these animals really are. You can send your people to watch me in a classroom setting with a group of kids with special needs. You can send your group of people to watch me in an old folks home with a bunch of people who know that their time is expiring. And I can guarantee you that each one of them who I can get to embrace that reptile will tell you that it did something for them. And that's my goal. That's one of my daily, I put it on my vision board every single year. I will break the wall into NIH so that someone can communicate to the powers to be to prove the discovery of how these animals are definitely animals we need.
I love them. We call them the emotional support snakes because you have a bad day, you go home, you hold the snake.
My husband tells the story. Like, mine is shared is anger management. People might think I'm always happy, and I am happy a lot. Let me take it back. I am a person. I'm a Gemini, so I like to be happy. That's my lane of choice. But I'm quick to jump in the other lane if you make me not happy. And so what my husband, and he saw a long time ago, he would say how, you just go in the reptile room and I'll forget what I was mad about. Or if somebody really upsets me, my oldest child, she has a way of doing that. And I'll just say, let me go grab a snake. But my grandchildren are the same way. If one of them are about to cry, I'll say, go get a snake. And oops, they forgot they was about to cry about. They'll go run and go get the snake.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't be upset when you hold a snake.
It is the thing. I don't even know if it's the thing that the power of the animal teaches us that. I think really fast, because you got small children who instantly, the focus, I think, instantly goes on this living creature that's in your hand. And so I have to focus on it because most people want to make sure, let me make sure the snake doesn't act like it's going to strike or anything like that. So you start to get caught up into all the behaviors of the reptile and you forgot whatever else in the world was going on. I think that is amazing. And yet we're medicating people with all kinds of Adderall, Propofol, and all those other kind of crazy medicines that's making them sicker and more mental, when we have all these other options, including reptiles, who can also help with that. So for sure. What are you working with now as far as ball pythons? What projects are you guys focused on? Or you're like me, you got this section of things you're focused on, and then there's this whole other section, and you're like, well, I like this too, and I'm gonna work with this too.
Oh God, we went crazy. So when we just started getting things, like my husband would like something, so we'd get one of those. Then you'd have to get something you could pair with it. And then it just it built that way. But ones we're really excited about that are close to ready. There's a lot that we're excited about that are nowhere near ready. But we have some sunset stuff.
Okay.
And he's really excited about his puzzle stuff that could be within the next year, hopefully. I really like the pieds, but we're a long way out from the pieds. And I think I finally have him convinced to get into ultramel. Okay. I've been trying, but that's our next thing. Oh, we have so many different things. We have bamboo. Oh, what is our girl I have a bamboo calico that I love, but she's being a stinker, so she won't eat right now. Every single one that I get, absolutely beautiful, hates me for a while because it won't eat, and then it starts eating again. So it just wants to scare me to death for a while. I have this really beautiful hypo girl. She's gorgeous. Her name's Imelda from Coco. Mama Imelda. She won't eat, but she's beautiful.
See, I have yet to experience a animal that hatched that would eat. Now, I've had purchased an animal who wouldn't eat, and I know it wasn't going to eat. I mean, I knew it wasn't eating. I wanted the animal. The breeder was very honest. Like, I haven't been able to get this dude to eat since he bred, but the price was right. I'm like, oh, I can get him to eat. And it took him probably about 8 months to eat. And I'll say this over and over again. I was very reluctant to like the Da Vinci boa. So I bought it and I had it for a minute, and I gave it to him. Gave him two, administered him the Da Vinci boa twice. After the second one, ate, no problem. Never stopped eating again. So I do think, did y'all see that? Who did that? Like, did you see it? Okay.
I did.
All right, let me see. What did I don't know. But anyway, it just popped up. But the Da Vinci ball worked. But I also noticed, Nikki, the Da Vinci ball works for your boas as well. Like helping them maintain their body composition the way it should, digesting the food properly. So I don't use it a lot, but when I do use it, it does prove to work. I know a lot of people say that, they have like 70-80% luck with it. I haven't used it a lot to say that it works 100% or not. I can tell you with that animal, the breeder said it didn't eat. I had it for 8 months, it didn't eat. I gave him Da Vinci boa and it ate. That's all I can tell you. I don't know if it was the Da Vinci or not. Right, Team Ultramel. Yeah, I have quite a bit of Ultramel now. And definitely is a big part of what I'm going to produce. Now, talk about the sunset. Now, I'll be honest. I am one of the people who don't think it's what it's going to be yet, right? So when I see it now, and take it back. I saw a combo last week, Nikki. That was really, really nice. But so what are your plans? How are you working the sunset?
Our sunset combo that we have, oh God, she's beautiful. So we have two het sunsets because I can't afford a visual sunset.
But hey, if the hets work, right?
We spent a small fortune to us. It was a small fortune on our het sunset girl, and she is gorgeous. She is a pinstripe, black pastel. God, I can't even remember off the top of my head. She has so many things in her. It is ridiculous. She is gorgeous, and she's going to go to our, we have a Lemon Blast Extreme Gene Het Sunset. He is handsome. He just had his first clutch of babies this fall because we wanted to get his first one out of the way and under his belt. So he's ready to go when she's ready. But she is so pretty.
I have yet to experience pairing a het to het that didn't prove out. Like, I knew I'll come to that, but I've been lucky. Like, everything that someone sold me and say is het for this, it's proven het for that. I don't know if it's just my luck. The only thing that I haven't been able to prove yet, and I cannot wait, I got a G-stripe het enhancer het clown in a double het enhancer het clown got a really good deal from High Desert. Antoine from High Desert was one of my first breeding pairs that I purchased. So they don't look like they'll both be ready this season, but I can't wait to pair them to see if they prove out. I know Antoine always joke about his hats never prove out. So I can't wait to take two of his animals, put them together, and they do prove out to be double het, and call him up and mess with him on the phone.
We just had our first, we paired a het clown to a het clown. That was our first adventure in that, and got our first clown baby, one little clown baby. We're so excited.
Okay. Dawn D said, so I saw the one that Justin posted. I haven't seen them all, but I'll look at them all. But the only one that I thought I want to say, was it Brock who posted it? Somebody posted one recently, and I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was Brock Wagner. I know for sure it wasn't Leviathan, because I stalk Steven from Leviathan. I love him. So my thing with Steven from Leviathan is just he presents as just an all-around good person, but his ability to articulate and deliver and educate. So I'm a person who, if you want me to hear, your delivery has to be on point. Like you have to have the data. He always have the data to back it up and stuff like that. So if there was anybody, I probably, like, if I down the line was to get to Sunset, it will most likely definitely be from Leviathan. And not that, I know they get a lot of that stuff from Brock as well. It's not that I just really respect him. I respect their YouTube content and everything. And it's not a lot of people overall when it comes to the content. I ain't gotta like you personally, but when it comes overall to the content, that I will sit and listen to. And Steven is definitely one of them. And so I do appreciate them. So I know that they're heavy into Sunset as well. Do you follow Leviathan Snakes?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's one I definitely like keep an eye on, because I do think that we're going to start to see some combinations of Sunset that's going to be magnificent as people start to work. And they're one of the first people I've ever heard to even start to purchase it, to work with it. And they do share some of the recent ones that they had. So I would be curious to see how that goes on. But another one you mentioned is Calico. So Calico stumbled on me, Nikki. I paired it, and I did a pairing, not necessarily for the Calico, but if Calico comes in, it'll be great. But it's the Calico pairings that came out of that are all amazing. Even one as simple as it's a pastel leopard calico. I think it's hat for desert ghost. Gorgeous snake. So when I talk about, I'm supposed to be working with this, but I'm adding something else, Calico is one of them. I want Calico. I also did Blackhead. I started a whole rack for Blackhead. I'm gonna go Blackhead crazy. I knew that though from the beginning. I thought it was going to be black pastel though. I have produced some black pastel, but Blackhead took over in my whole mental. So definitely that. What is it that you like the most about being in?
Oh, being an animal. I thought you were going to say, what morph do I like the most? I can't pick one of those, so don't ask me that. What is it that I like most about being with the animals? Is that what you said?
About being in the hobby, and it don't have necessarily be the animals. It could be like, for me, I do like 90% of the people in the hobby. I love 90% of the people in the hobby. There's a 10% that's trash that I could just never communicate with, and I'm good with that. But most of the people in this hobby, I absolutely adore, and they are a big part of my day-to-day communications. So for you, what would it be next to the animals? Because we know that's what draws us here. Next to the animals, what would you say that you look forward to when you wake up in the morning in the hobby?
I love the people. I would say the same thing. About 90% are fabulous. Mm-hmm. I just really like going on. I used to like aimlessly scroll on my phone and it would drive my husband crazy. Now I'm like this crazy Instagram fiend. Now he's like, now you're doing something on your phone, and I know it's like you're really doing something that's worth it and you're excited about. But like Tom Barnhart, I love talking to Tom Barnhart and Angel, and I just like to find people that we love their projects, we love what they're working on, we love what they're doing, and then I like to shoot them a message and see if they'll write me back. And if they don't, they don't. But if they do, then I know they're probably a good person and I probably can chit chat with them for a while. So I really love the people.
Absolutely. Tom said, thanks, Nikki. Same here. Absolutely. And that's the thing. And shout out to Tom and the veteran breeders, because I think they have a big part in how much we enjoy this, especially when we come in with the breeding in mind. So as you have Tom, I had Ozzy. I still have Ozzy. That is probably one of my all-time favorite reptile persons, next to Kevin. Kevin is my everything. Everybody know that. It's going to always be Kevin McCurley here. Y'all can try whatever y'all want. It is going to be Kevin McCurley for this girl all day. And because Kevin was the master of all the animals, and he keeps all the animals I keep as well. And Lord Jesus, his footprint and his place in the hobby, where none of us will be working with a lot of the stuff that we work with, and it wasn't for him. So I have a whole high regard for the vets. I'm going to always have that regard for them. And so with Ozzy, though, when it came to breeding, he allowed me to see the business side of it. Even being able to be in his facility where there's a lot of Barnhart black pastel at Ozzy's house. There's a lot there. I can tell you that. And I will always know, because when he would pull out the snake, and he'd go pull out like a Barnhart black pastel combo. And I'm like, yeah, we know what it is. Like you can clearly see the difference. But he allowed not just myself, even communicating with my husband, because my husband, he's more involved now. But when I first decided down this venture, first of all, he didn't touch a snake until 2 years ago. So let alone be having retics living in the house, climbing up the stairs, all that kind of stuff. It's a long way for him. But when it came to the breeding part of it, Ozzy would talk to him like he was involved. And so it would intrigue my husband to a whole nother perspective, which now I feel like now we're more business partners in it than, it just being me. So for you, though, you and your husband, y'all partner, you're doing it together. But apparently he's not that big on the social media side, right?
No, it is me. If you write us, it is me. I'm the crazy taking videos of rats. I escape out to the rat shack. He's like, honey, can you go give the rats some food? I'm like, yeah, I'll be back in just a little bit. I'll come back half an hour later, walk in the house. He'll go, how'd it go out there? Oh, I forgot to feed them. I'll be right back, because I've been out there taking videos and talking to them.
So how many colonies do you think you have now with the rats?
Let's just say like 50. I don't know.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Good. Yeah. See, we're nowhere near there. We still got a ways to go. The good thing is the ASFs are producing like crazy now. I think 50 actually is probably where we probably won't want to do no more than 50 actual colonies, to be honest, for us. So that's not bad at all. No. And you have it. When did you said you started breeding them right after you started with the ball python purchasing? Yeah.
So we started breeding the rats in June of 22. And then we got them their own rat shack, which was called the Snack Shack at first. And then I couldn't do it anymore because I fell in love with them too much. I couldn't call it the Snack Shack because I liked the little buggers. Just like I liked them too much to call them that. So now we have the Rat Shack, or as my son calls it, the Rat House, because they have air conditioning and heat and a special fan to vent everything out. And then we expanded, and out by our shop, my husband has what he calls his shack. So
okay, yeah, okay. And so yours is out. So ours is in the garage. So you have the split heating system for them.
We have just like a standalone heater, and then they have this big old air conditioner that comes in.
But, okay, so you still have to control it, which is fine for where you live, because we're not in places where it's hot all the time. Because right now we have, there's a heater running and the ventilation, but when it flips the weather, there's an AC running and then the ventilation. So I was just curious because I've seen some, like I thought Chris at B&S, for example, probably one of the cleanest rat sheds too. Because for me, that was my first time standing in one where a person has a whole bunch of rats. And I felt like, oh, this is not bad. Like I was thinking it was going to be worse than what it was. I will also add that the hemp shavings and the shavings that you use is better than the fancy lavender stuff that I used to use for the ones that was in the house, because that stuff will last 14 days for the ASS for sure, but probably 4 days with the rats. The shavings actually last longer. So we did put that in the pellets. Is that what you're using too?
Yep. We use that. We don't use the pellets anymore. We use like the PDZ stall refresher. It's like a powder stuff that helps cut down on the urine smell.
PDZ?
Yeah. I can't remember like the actual name of it.
Too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I think it has a different name at Tractor Supply, but it's called like a stall refresher. And we just sprinkle it in mostly like in the corners because they always go potty in the corners. Mm-hmm. And we moved on from that just to those two, the shavings and the PDZ, instead of using the pellets too, just in the last couple of months, and haven't really seen a big difference. So
see, that's the cool thing about the ASFs too, Nikki. They go in a corner, like they go in the bathroom in one specific place. So even if I spot clean, I can scoop that one little area. Where the rats, that's not even a thought. That's like, and that was my thing. If it wasn't for my husband saying that he would do the rats, I would never have done it on this level, because I would clean them because I have to. Whereas though I love cleaning retic shit. Retic poop, I'm like, okay, you poop, I got you, babe. Rats, I'm like, no, I clean y'all again. Like I hated doing it. And so if it wasn't for my husband saying that he didn't mind, I would never have gotten into this level of reading them ever.
See, we should live closer. I would happily go out and mess with your rats. You could help Kurt with the snakes. I love the snakes, but you'd be like, she's been gone 8 hours. Where'd she go? I don't know what happened to her.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like I'll clean animals all day and be fine. And I think too, with the rats, especially this time of year, like I don't have a facility where I can, like I have a big sink and I can like dump the stuff in the trash and then spray down their tubs. We literally have to take their tubs out back or out front to spray them down. I'm not going outside in the cold spraying water. So my husband, he don't mind. He'll go do that all day. So I literally will go take the bins, dump the stuff, hand it to my husband outside. He'll clean them and bring them back in. But I can't do the cold and water.
Oh gosh, my dad had a gas-powered pressure washer or something. Okay. I don't know. Kurt swears by it. It's like the coolest thing ever. So it has heat and he can put the soap in it and he sprays down the bins and it pressure washes them. He's out there in his little rain suit.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing.
I can definitely see the pressure washer, like what I want. And we have the ability to do it. It's just that I keep buying more animals. Like I want a rhino iguana. So we had to make a whole new space for me to even think about getting a rhino iguana, where technically I probably should be putting an industrial sink in that area. That would help.
The rhino iguana. You gotta have that instead.
But I'll just get the rhino iguana and you still go outside and spray the tubs down, I guess. That is the last animal, though. I keep telling my husband I'm going to purchase. I say it every time. But this year, it's only going to be a rhino iguana. And I have a couple ball pythons that I do want to get. That is actually going to advance my projects. You know, it's not just going to be buying something to buy. But yeah, I think that if I had a rat facility like Chris does, and if that facility had a big sink or something like that, I would enjoy, because I do like handling the rats. I love handling the rats and the ASFs. I got some of the chillest ASFs. Like you can hold my grandkids, hold them, you can play with them, all of that. But I don't like cleaning them.
Our ASFs hate me. So I'm glad that you have friendly ones. I call them heat-seeking missiles because we have ours all intermixed. So like there'll be a mouse bin and an ASF bin and a mouse bin and this one rack that we have. Then there's a whole designated mouse rack. But we moved the ASFs into this rack that the mice are in too. So I didn't label them because in my mind I'll remember which is which. But I still like to play the game where I open it and I'm like, oh, it's a little cute mouse. Look at that. And I'll open it and be like, where's the mouse? And this ASF will come like running up. just wants to get me. So I call them heat-seeking missiles because I'm pretty sure if they could all fly out, I would be dead.
I love the way they are. I love their family unit. I love their family protection. I said they act like little gang members. So even when how I know babies are in there is when I open the tub, all of the bigger ones are sitting up on a hat right at the front. I'm like, oh, it's babies in here, isn't it? That's the only time they really act like that. It's like they're protecting. And so I know to lift the little hide, and I know to look behind the hide. Because sometimes they'll even like put the babies under the substrate so I don't see them.
Yeah.
But just by how they act, I know they're there.
Which is probably why they want to kill me, because ours always have them at the front of the bin. So as soon as you open the bin, their little heads are like,
babies are, yeah.
Yes.
And I get that. I respect it. I say it all the time. I love the reason why I won't breed rabbits is because rabbits are bad parents. Like rabbits will literally throw their kids out the tub. Where rats and ASFs are protective to an extent. And rats are very protective of their babies too, but rabbits are not. And I would love to breed rabbits for my retics. But that also means that I would have to euthanize them, and I can't do that because I just can't do it. And my snakes, most of them out of my collection, 80% eats frozen thawed. I only have the live collection for like the newborns and the ones who you do have to transition. But I offered frozen thawed as soon as they come out the egg and they are ready to eat a couple weeks later. If they take the frozen thawed, they never see live ever. But sometimes you got to transition them. Hey, Alexandra. Hi, girl. The hairdresser, he's doing hair today. So, what is so right now, Nikki, do you do this full time, or you do work full time and you do this as well?
We work and do this as well. This is our night job and our weekend job, but it's not a job.
What is the work-life balance like? Do you feel overwhelmed with what you have, or you guys can work it pretty good?
No, we work it. I think we have a really good system worked out. It's also really great because it's the first hobby that we found that we both mutually love. We tried dirt bike riding. I had a dirt bike. I can't even ride the dang thing, but I wanted to try. I would probably kill myself if I tried to ride it. It's a shame. But so we tried that. We tried mountain bike riding. We tried so many different things. Bowling. I have my own bowling ball. We tried that. But the snakes and the rats, we found something that we both mutually love. It's not work. It's so much fun. And I just love it.
And that's the difference. Like when you're doing something you love, it's not work. Like we talked about with the retail. That's why people say they don't wear you out. Never. Never. Every encounter I get to have with them, even if it's 3:00 in the morning and one of them did something really crazy, like threw over their whole water bowl, I don't care. I'm happy about it. I'm glad to get them out. I'm glad to engage with them. So it's so different. And I share that with people. I don't care what it is. Find that thing that makes you feel like that, right? That thing that makes you feel like no matter what hour of the day, like I feel that way about my husband. No matter what hour of the day, I don't mind him walking through the door. But I'm telling you, with these animals, no matter what they ask of me, even though they can't ask, I'm there for them. Yeah. I am there. I'm all for it.
I would agree. There's never a time when I'm at work where I'm like, I have to go home and take care of everything now. I am so excited. Sometimes I will even go and visit the rats before I come in the house. Because I'm like, I got to see who had babies. Now it's a little more crazy. That was like when we had 5 colonies and it would be waiting for the one to have its babies. But I still like to visit them before I come in the house sometimes.
And I think it's important. It's something that I express. I know that we use them to serve a circle of life purpose. But until that part of life ends, I want them to be the happiest rats ever, the happiest ASF ever. So I think it's important to give them stuff. They play a lot. Like if you listen to them, they like to play. So we got to give them things to play with, I think that's why I don't have a lot of chew outs too, because they got so many toys and stuff to destroy and play with in there. And then I just buy cheap stuff that I can just throw out. Like the biggest hey Holly, one of the biggest advice that I ever got from Keisha from Keys Constrictors was using the paper towel rolls. I use paper towels all day. So we build up the paper towel rolls, and that's what they use. And you can just throw them out when you're cleaning the enclosure and put more paper towel rolls in there. But we definitely got to give them something to do while they're in there.
And they're so smart. We do pet rats every now and then too. And we used to have a big double critter nation in the house until it got to be too much. And you can potty train. They can be potty trained so fast. They're smart animals. Definitely underrated.
They are very underrated. I think that all these animals are underrated though. Like I tell people all the time, and I'm not even talking about the reed ticks, even ball pythons. If people sit there and watch them. Yesterday, my daughter came here and with her boyfriend, and they stood near my spider ball python's enclosure, which is one of my pets. And he came out the enclosure and looked straight up like, who is that standing here? Like he was bothered. Like no one stands right here. And he's sitting there and he's looking like, and as soon as he walked away, he pulled the seat back in his hat, like as if he was sleeping and someone bothered him. And when people say those are not real reactions, it is. We just don't tap into, well, I can't say we, I do. But a lot of people won't pay that much attention to actually document these behaviors over and over again. So I want to talk about that, how you use your Instagram, because the only time you see me typically post something on Instagram other than a cute picture is if the animal is doing something absolutely amazing, or the animal is doing something that is showing people I'm not just an animal, because so many people think they don't have that ability to think. Why? I don't know, because they have been on Earth longer than we have. They have manipulated all types of disasters. Right now, if California has a natural disaster, somehow all the snakes still find a way to get out and live and migrate to somewhere else, okay? But we die. So they are very, very smart animals. And so I try to show that. How do, like, when you doing your content, because I can tell you your content is fun. I love that you bring the baby into it. I think that's important because we show that next generation that this is nothing to be afraid of. I love that. I love the little girls on Instagram who hold the green tree pythons and stuff like that. I mean, they make me feel more confident because I wasn't holding my green tree for a year, you know. But what is your perspective? How do you use it? How do you think about your content when you say, I'm gonna put this out there?
We want our content to be something that everybody can engage with. Mm-hmm. We want it to be, I always want to come from the positive side of things, sometimes the silly side. I always tell people when they meet us that I think we have like one feeding video on there, which I may have deleted from way before when I fell, like before I fell in love with the rats. But I always tell you that you'll see rats and you'll see snakes, but you'll never see them together on our on ours, because I don't want it to be something that scares people. I want it to be something that is fun and intrigues people. Like, right. I want people to ask me questions. They don't usually, but I want people to ask me questions about why we do this and what makes it exciting and why we love what we do.
Right. And I think you said something about the positive and the fun, because I think that people can hear things better when you're positive and it's fun. And like, even with you using that scenario, I am not a big believer of live feedings in the way of, oh, look at the snake eat this poor little rabbit or this poor little rat. No, but I do think that there has to be space where we're teaching that child who just got a reptile for Christmas how to properly check the temperature of the frozen thawed rat that is how to properly feed the snake, how to not hold the snake immediately after feeding, let it digest the food 3 days if it's a ball python, or 5 days, you know, or if it's a retic, let them digest the whole 10 to 2 weeks it takes. But I think when we all ran from doing the live feeding videos and stuff, like rightfully so, right? Because they got out of hand, they became misused. The perspective that the other non-reptile keepers start to get was not that we were good people like you and I talked about and that we love animals. It looks like we hated them. I get that. But you're using your point. This is a rat and this is a mouse. I mean, this is a rat and this is a snake. You'll never see them together. Is a good way of saying that the rat eats the snake. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And maybe I know I use and use. I just actually I'm gonna post a video today that typically I'll post it in privately in my subscription channel only on YouTube first, and let that go for about a week, and then I'll post it to the public. But it's a video of one of my snakes that and this is something, you know, I got males had bred, but this is the first time I ever saw a male initiate his breeding process on the glass. So it looks like he was trying to have sex with the glass, right? And I'm telling you, the video is nasty. We can see everything he's doing to the glass, okay? And so my son put it first, so I ran out here and I'm videotaping it. I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I put this out, if it's disgusting. So I'll put it in the chat first. And then I'll look, hey, Justin, I'll look to see how the people in our, you know, in the private subscription channel react to it. And then I'll decide whether or not I'm going to put it out. Like, there's a video of my snake eating from the beginning to the end, a retake, the entire feeding, but it's not public. It's on my subscription channel. So the people who really want to see that content, I don't mean to say it like that, they pay a small fee, but it's the fact that they're paying it for educational purposes, not for their own entertainment, because you're not going to pay a subscription just to sit there for entertainment purposes. You can get that anywhere. And I know that those people won't share their content. You know what I'm saying? They won't violate that privacy, but we have to have that space to teach them, you know. And like in your case, you raising this animal, you're caring for this animal, you're feeding this animal, you, like you said, you run home to see this animal, all of that. You're not a bad person. The unfortunate part is that you keep two sets of animals that eat each other.
And we keep them because they do eat each other. Yeah.
Right, because they eat each other.
Yeah. You know? I think for us too, like when we came up with our name, we love puns. So we knew it had to be something quirky because we're quirky. But we got told by a lot of people that you need to have a Rattery name and a Rattery business, and you need to have a snake business. You should not put the two of them together. And I'm really stubborn because I'm a Taurus, and I was like, we're doing it. We're putting them together. That's going to be it. And we're going to teach people that it's okay to love snakes, and it's okay to love rats, and it's okay that they eat each other. But you can also love rats on the pet side too. Like, you can have a pet rat. It'll be cool.
And it's we have, I think it's Mountain State Breeders, and they breed both, right? They deliver every Sunday to a certain area, rats and other rodents. I think now, like that advice given to you 5 years ago may have been worth something, but today I think it's actually a great thing where there are more breeders who are breeding their own food. So the chances are when that breeder feeder cannot supply you, you're going to another breeder to get that food anyway. So like, who cares? Like, I'm glad to be at irresistible ball pythons if I want a ball python. Oh, and if I have to feed them too, I can buy a ball python and buy 10 rats or, you know, a frozen thawed or whatever I'm buying right here while I'm here. So
we love that as well.
Absolutely. And for me, even as a person who breeds, it's so convenient. Like, if someone doesn't have what I want, to still have that stock that I can say, okay, I'll just go into my own, you know, feed it alive, even though it normally eats a frozen thawed, you know what I'm saying? But if I was like totally out and I couldn't get it from anywhere, say if it was a snowstorm and I cannot make it, then I still have that breeding section of animals I can pull from as well, which is smart, because I don't know how you're surviving right now if you're not breeding a portion of your animal's food.
Oh my gosh, it would be, just this week when we were feeding, I was like, let's just do the math on the low end, like the really low end, how much it would cost to feed our collection a week. And it's like, well, the low end was $400, which is ridiculous. So I'm very thankful for my shack that I can go out to play in.
Right. And to have like whatever. So I always talk about that work-life balance because you'll hear a lot of people complain about being overwhelmed, whether it's work or overwhelmed with the animals, right? We know that you enjoy it, but what is a typical day like? Do you deal with the animals before work? I know before I worked, before I retired from my full-time job, I used to have to deal with animals before work and then after work.
I used to get up in the morning and go out when we had a smaller collection of rats. I would check the rats every morning. Okay. But now that I feel like we have a really good system down, we check them at night. So we go out, we get home from work. Kurt gets home before me, but he works super early. So he'll usually take a nap when he gets home because he's at work by like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Okay.
So he has to get up even earlier than that because he has a bit of a commute. And then he'll take a nap. We'll get going. We'll have dinner. And then it's out to the rats to do the rats. And then when it gets dark, it's in to check the snakes and have some family time while we're checking the snakes. And everybody gets a turn to hold somebody. And we do it that way.
Make a whole thing of it.
Yeah, now, no.
Your water system. Because I am still a believer of the individual bottles. I know it's a lot of work. What do you have the individual bottles, or do you use the actual water system, or do you do both for your rats?
We use the buckets. So we have the big 5-gallon bucket and the water system. And knock on wood, we've only had a couple issues, and that's when we have the spring-loaded valves for them. And that's when those get dirty or clogged and they just keep dripping. But those are pretty fast to catch too, I feel like. Get those off, get a new one on. Just have to have a little stockpile of new ones ready to go. But oh my gosh, that would save you so much time. Filling those water bottles.
I know. And my husband, he wants the water system. He wants the bucket. Okay. We got the buckets. We even got, in fact, I think I might have sent some of them the keys because I was so hell bent and I'm not even using these. And I know he used the water system for his. I would rather take all those bottles, but my husband is saying, you're saying that now, but when it's a 50 of these bottles, what you're going to do is put them on a cart, scoot them in there, fill them all up and scoot them back. That's not going to happen. No. I'm just afraid of, and I just saw it recently. I think Wiz said it happened too, of them chewing through it and it floods like the animals out, which I always thought rats would be water resistant based on every movie I watched, but clearly
no,
them out.
They are not. Yeah. And the only time you have to worry about that, I feel like, is one, if they can pull it in with them, which if you get the little clips, they won't be able to, or if you have an escapee. So you just got to get your escapees nailed down. We don't have escapees, knocking on wood again, because we had an escaped mouse and it was hilarious. It was a couple months ago. A mouse got out somehow and it was running around in our shack. And I kid you not, I tried to catch that thing for a week and a half. I went to feed the dang mice and it was sitting in the feeder. It was just sitting there. And I just reached, I said, "Oh, hello, little mouse." I reached in and picked it right up.
Now ASF's there. Like they somehow they know to come back because they got to eat and they got to get something to drink. So even though they can't get back in the bin, if they can't, they will hang around the area because they know they need that food source, you know. And I think too, I wonder if, like I said, because it's only the ones that it happened to, the ones that's outside. If it's something triggering with the fact that they can smell more of the natural air space, you know, it's more intriguing to them to get out.
Yeah. Oh, but
Jenny said that's what it is. They know where the good stuff is.
They do.
Jenny, they like, oh yeah, we out the house. We can go all the way out here and get what we want. Get some nuts and berries and come back.
Yeah. Go meet some squirrels. Have a good time.
Exactly. So that could be a difference. I mean, I would tell you that I'm excited about growing that this year. Though. I'm really excited about having more ASFs, having more rats. Definitely excited. I get people all the time who say, "Hey, I can't find any food for my animals." I would love to be able to say, "Hey, just come over and, you know, grab 50 of these." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not charge them the arm and the leg. That if we was in a pet store the other day for something else, and I haven't bought a rodent from a pet store in years, and a ASF in that store was $7. $7 for one ASF. You know how often I feed ASFs? I'm like, it would be no way. Like no way. If I didn't have access to like my breeder who breeds for me, and I pay, even with him, the ASFs are $2.50 a piece, which is like $1 more than what they were when I first started breeding. But it's still not $7 for ASF.
Your snakes would need to go get a job.
Right.
You have to figure it out.
And that's why I think people who are we talk about people who are coming out of breeding and stuff like that. If you are someone living in an area where you cannot breed your own animals, or you cannot go to a breeder to get your animals, you screw. There's no way you can breed.
No.
There's no way. I mean, unless you breeding all, $20,000 snakes. Let me take that back. But other than that, it's no way you can breed under them circumstances and keep your collection healthy.
No.
Jenny, they are ridiculous. Like the store prices are absolutely insane. And I was so shocked. I didn't even look to see what the rest were, but I'm like, a little ASF is $7. I can't. That would take me over $500 to feed one wall of snakes. Like that's a lot.
That's a lot.
So we were $6 for a small rat. Jesus, Bosa. And most animals eat small rats, especially ball pythons.
That's a lot of small rats.
This is why people feeding their animals chicken nuggets. Somebody, it was on TikTok, because you can. A retic will eat a chicken leg in a heartbeat. What? Yes. I'm convinced you can put pizza in a retic cage. They might eat it, but they definitely will eat a chicken leg. In fact, I had one of the babies. One baby, everybody came out eating. One baby wouldn't eat for like 6 weeks. Someone said, give her a chicken wing. And I bust out laughing. He's like, no, you got to. I went and got the chicken wing, put that chicken wing in it. That baby ate the chicken wing. And then it ate rats after that. I was like, what in the world? But some people feed their retics.
Wow.
Yeah, from the store. I just don't like store-bought stuff because it's so genetically modified. We do a lot of genetically modified as humans. I definitely don't want to give that to my animals. Even with the rats, we have the benefit of feeding our rats what we want our snakes to intake.
Mm-hmm.
Where when you go to a pet store, you don't know who fed it. You don't know which your animal's what your animal intake is. And I think a lot of times when people say my animal ate and died out the blue, I think it's because of what they ate. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was nothing wrong with them before that. I think it's absolutely because of what they ate, for sure. I had a couple more things that I wanted to talk about before let me see what time it is. I told you, see, Nikki, it's an hour and 5 minutes.
My heart is no longer beating like out of my chest like it was the first 20 minutes where I thought I was going to have a heart attack. So
I always share this story. Bosa was my absolute favorite interview that I ever done on this podcast because Bosa was not. First of all, we didn't know Bosa talked. We didn't know Bosa had a voice. So it was my birthday, and I said I'm just going to show up. I did the thumbnail and everything. I said, Bosa is my guest. We kept promoting it for months. We didn't know if he was going to show up or not. He never did a podcast. He never was really verbal on any of his posts or anything. Now Bosa be on everybody's podcast and everything. So my point is that when you said people say it to me all the time, I've never done a podcast. That's exactly why I want you on mine, because I like to see and hear from the people who never did one. There are so many people I can go back and they never did a podcast. This was their first time doing a podcast. And now it opened them to blessing people. Like the verbal Bosa is such a blessing. The non-verbal Bosa was already a blessing. We were all like a big fan of him without a voice. But what I learned during that podcast was how godly he was, how much he loved God. I learned I already knew how much he loved his family. He had to say a word. You can say from every post he made how much he loved his family. But it opened him up to, I think, to a whole other part of the reptile community that he could also use for his benefit. So I tell people all the time, I feel like my podcast is not as intimidating, right? Because you're not on air with like the people who just want to talk hardcore genetics and stuff like that. Mine is more about the person. Mine's more about the person than the animals. And so I like that I actually enjoyed that part of the podcast. Jenny, you too. I forgot. Jenny was another one. I would say probably 30% of the people who I have interviewed over the last 2 years were people who typically won't do a podcast or talk publicly. And I drag people to it because it's so many amazing people. Nikki, your IG is amazing. First of all, you never said anything and just smiled. Okay. I'm a tea person, y'all. Okay. And I'm not talking about, look, I ain't talking about necessarily the teeth that you can go get made and all that kind of stuff. I'm a tea person for that too. I love veneers. I'm a big fan of veneers. I'll have nothing against anyone who has them, but a natural, beautiful smile is something that it pulls me in, whether it's male or female. If I see it, I love my husband because he has this gorgeous smile, and I love it. I like to make him smile a lot because he has 6 dimples when he's really, really happy. One of the most attractive things to me, even 15 years in, is when he is happy, and all of his dimples pop. But your content is exactly what you said you wanted it to be. It makes people happy. I don't reach out to people who don't seem like they warm and inviting. I never do. I reach out to people who may be quieter on social media, but they still have this warm presence about them. Jenny was a perfect example of that. Jenny was not big on, but Jenny will go on IG, take, pictures and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, she is so interesting. I want to bring her on. And we had a great time. I'm having a great time with you. We get to, again, now I know if I need expertise advice on these daggone rats out here in the garage to call you. Nikki, I need you. And I know that you're responsive. Nikki is probably, let me just say to all of y'all, that's the Bosa, probably was one of my most responsive guests. Nikki promoted the show more than I did, y'all. Shout out to Nikki. Okay. I was like, yes, and I love that. I love that type of energy. And you're doing a great job at that. It was like talking to a friend because we all friends. We are all, what I say, we are all weirdos in a group of weirdos, a whole bunch of nuts in a bag, and we need each other.
We do need each other.
We need each other.
True.
So absolutely. So what intrigues you to most to other people's posts? Like when you're on IG, what do you like to see?
Oh, I like seeing the pretty animals. I get sucked in by those. Sometimes my son takes my phone and he likes everybody's photos. He's learned the double click on Instagram. Can I put the heart on it? I like the pretty animals. I like to see people interacting with their animals, sharing something maybe that's different, but not so out there. I don't like the ones that are like attention grabbers. I want to be drawn into it because it's interesting. I don't want to have like the flash in front of it and then, oh, that's what I was waiting for. Dang.
That's the younger generation. That's how you draw them in with all the lights, the flashes, and that type of stuff. Reptile shows. Are you vending reptile shows now, or are you just attending?
We are vending. So we started a year ago in January at the PAC Northwest. So we just go to the Puyallup. They're in Oregon as well. And we have some other local shows. But for us, Puyallup is about an hour and a half drive. So we go to the Puyallup ones because they're the closest for us. And we go January and July. Oh my gosh, we have so much fun. I have more fun talking to all the people than like my husband's friend. I'm really shy. I'm a bit socially awkward. Like I'll probably be done after this and I won't sleep tonight because I'll think of what didn't I say? What should have I said? How weird was I? That's what I'll do. But my husband's friend was at the expo with us in January and he goes, that's what Nikki's really like. She was so excited to talk to everybody. You couldn't get her to stop talking. That's me.
So it's funny that you say the socially awkward. That's another thing. All of us is different. So I'm gonna share a thing about me. And Dre really made me better. The snake guard made me better at this. I will do, we can talk like this, Nikki, on the phone, via text, online. In person, it's a lot. I don't like people to come up to touch me, right? So my first, I think what was the first, it wasn't my first show. It was the first Tinley that me and Dre was at. And it's early in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So it's early in the morning, and it was all these people, because you don't know that people actually pay attention to you on social media. So it was all of these people who kept coming up to me. Oh my God, you're Lady Tiz Exotics, and this and this and this. And it was like my face was showing, like, like, and Dre had to say, Nicole, stop. You looking at people like, and I didn't even realize it. So I'm very conscious of it now, because people assume because I'm very social and I'm outgoing, I am. But normally I get to select the people that I'm social and outgoing with. I don't normally walk into a group of room and people start touching and say, can I take a picture and this type of stuff? But by the second Tilly, I was way better. He gave me my props. I was way better. I was like, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm ready to go across there. We're going to walk in and I'm going to take pictures on the smile. I was ready. But that first one, when people was like, tap me from the back, and I'm like, whoa, I'm from the hood. You so we are all socially awkward in one way or another. We just, all of ours present differently. Where yours, you might be more of an introvert. I am technically an introvert to an extent. It's just that I can, once I'm comfortable, or once I'm like, here, this is my thing, I'm comfortable, we can talk all day, and no one's touching me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like it's not touching me. I'm so much better now. Shout out to Dre.
We call that selectively social at our house.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is. I'm very selectively. So, and part of that, I think, is growing up in an area where you had to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I grew up in the hood. You couldn't just roll with everybody. You had to side eye everybody and kind of figure everybody out. Where, like my son, for example, he's naturally friendly, and I'm like, where did you get that from? Because his father is not necessarily, I don't think, naturally friendly, but he's a person that touch him, hug him. He's like that. I'm not like that. But I've gotten a lot better. Don't let her fool you. Nicole will turn. Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong, Dawn. You know when I'm comfortable, it's turning all the way up. That's my point. It's turning all the way up. I want to turn up. We're gonna make sure we turn up. I gotta get past though the strangers that want a hug. But yes, Nikki, I'm gonna have a good time. Once we figure it, we are in a good place, I'm having me a good old time. Non-stop good time. Darlene said the same. I've got extreme social anxiety. I don't leave my house unless I have no other choice. Again, but Darlene has animals and Darlene rescues animals. I think that is that part that I need the National Institute of Health to understand, and then support and take that information to the government so they can leave us and our animals alone. So yeah, I think that was all I have. If anybody else had any questions in the chat, I know that Boaster dropped Nikki's IG in the chat, so you can definitely go follow. It's the Irresistible Ball Pythons and Rattery on IG. Definitely great energy. Definitely, I'm so excited, Nikki, that you said yes, because I will tell you, when I was reaching out, I was like, I don't know, because sometimes I don't do social media. I can't. And I was like, I'm going to have to really, really pull it in. But when you reached out to me, that was my opening. I was like, I got a random message from her. She just sent me at the same day. I told my husband, I'm going to get her on the podcast. And so I waited like a week and I reached out. So sometimes I'll just be patient, because I know my social media presence can be overwhelming for some people. So I like for people to know that, just because I'm a raw, if you are chill, this still works. And we still want you to get that exposure for you and your business. We still want, thank you, Bosa. We still want you to, feel comfortable in the community. I never realized that you were in the chats at Hair Down. So seeing you at Hair Down last night, I was like, hey, too. And so it's so cool how it all connects, which hair down is my favorite. And it as a newbie in the breeding side of it, you know, I kept animals for 30 plus years, but as a newbie, I consider myself a newbie because last year was my first year of actually having clutches. That show teaches me so much because you have an array of different level of breeders, an array of different people in the reptile hobby. You learn so many different things that can work for you or not work for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much information that's there. So out of all the podcasts, that's my favorite. Hair Down is by far my favorite podcast ever. And it's no nonsense, you know, it's no drama, none of that. It's just about the animals laughing, people having a good time. So,
and it's T Keys running it. You can't go wrong with him.
Absolutely.
He's such a great guy. Well, I told you, I just randomly start writing people that I think are awesome. And now, like, he'll write me and be like, "Hey, Nikki." I'm like, "Oh my God, he knows my name."
Everybody's name. And let me tell you,
it's amazing.
We are in like Tinley and stuff like that. And we're all together. This is me. When I don't know which one is this, so I'll go to Terrence to find out. Okay, that's AA Ron from who, and then he'll say Balls of Paradise. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll give you the name. Either I know you by your name or your business name. Typically, I can't put the two together. I don't know how he does. And he says it's because that's what he did in business. I did that in business too. I had to remember my employees' names. I had to remember their children's name. But I'm talking about you talking hundreds of people in the ball python community that you don't deal with every day, all day. He will remember their names. It's crazy. It's insane. But he's very passionate about it. He does, Darlene. Like, I'll be like, how in the world? Like, I'll still be calling the person by their business name, but he'll put it in the chat, and it's so cool. I'll be like, how in the world do he even know all of these people's names? And he don't talk to them every day. So definitely, and again, Keys is a part of that culture of positivity. And I would tell you, like, there's times, like, even in the background, I'm like, people come for him, and, you know, I'm the big sister. I'm protective. I'm like, you need to do this and say this and this. And he just, I'm like, it can't be me. It can't be me. That's my anger management. I'm telling y'all, it's fucked up. My anger management's horrible. It can't be me. But he keeps us all, like, keeping us with focus. It's all about the pleasantness of the hobby. He keeps us all focused on what we started doing these podcasts for, is we wanted to change the little screwed up culture of, you know, people just always being catty and at each other and bringing everybody together. One thing I love about him too is he's forgiving. I'm not. So if I ever said I hated you and I used the word hates, it's no coming together. It's no coming together ever. Now I can say I'm mad at you. I can say I dislike you. You pissed me off. That's different. When I say HATE, there's no coming together. But he respects the fact that he knows that I'm not going to, you know, like, you know, some people, you got friends and they feel like because you don't like this person, you shouldn't like this person. It's not like that with us. It's more like, you know, I don't mess with that person. Keep it away from me because you know my anger management. You know, but he's always like that, even behind the scenes. He's always very positive. I have trouble remembering my own damn name sometimes. I know that's right. Well, this has been an amazing one. Nikki, I thank you so much again. Like I said, everybody, please follow Nikki on IG. You will not be disappointed. Even if you don't like videos, just wake up, look at a picture. It's one of the best smiles. Oh, it is. You sent me 2 pictures. You was like, "Oh, this one." I'm like, "Well, even one of them." I mean, the teeth are teething. Just such a beautiful person, such a beautiful smile. And again, like, sometimes you don't even have to use your voice, you know. Both for a long time used his smile, and it was well enough for all of our souls.
I agree.
Darlene said the iguana ban trying to go through in Florida is such BS. You know, Florida, the whole thing with the Burmese ban in Georgia is horrible right now. Nikki has the best mouth for sure. Molly for sure.
Thanks, Molly.
And it's nothing like a good smile. And people don't realize, my husband always told me that, is that one of the reasons why he smiled at people is because you never know that you could be changing somebody's day, you know. And if someone speaks, the least you can do is smile, you know. But he's from the South. I'm from up north, you know. We got different blood. But he does. He'll somebody say hello to him, he'll say hello and he'll give him a quick smile and keep going. And that's a smile can definitely change a day. So I would encourage you all to go on IG if you're having a bad day. Go on to Nikki's page. And if you don't do anything else, look at the smile. You can't deny that one. It should bring joy to your soul.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome. So y'all all have an amazing day. I'm going to, Nikki, you stay right there. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys.
Okay.
I miss seeing Turn Up Nikki. I went to bed at 10. Look, Elias. Elias. So I'm chatting with Keys right now because we were supposed to be going to Dallas. Now I might be going to Tinley in March. So wherever, I can tell you this. If my brother's in Tinley, I'll go to Tinley. If he's in Texas, I'm going to Texas. We're going to figure it out one way or the other, which one we're doing. Thank you so much, both. I knew it would be an awesome episode. Thank you, bro. Y'all all have an amazing day. Elias, I'll be seeing you or talking to you soon. I missed the podcast this morning. The grandkids had me tied up, so I got to go back. Actually, I'm going to go watch it right after this because I'm curious what your thoughts was on Color Purple. So if you guys don't follow, one of my favorite podcasts as well is Elias Snake Cinema Podcast. And Elias goes through music, movies, and he is so educated down to who produced it, who directed it. Like, you learn so much, and it's like so much. Oh, that's right, it's going to be next week. Okay, good. I forgot you out of town. Thank you. See, I was going to say I missed it. All right, so cool. So next week I won't miss this. So I'll definitely be curious to see what you said about Color Purple. I heard so many mixed messages, but I think it's like one of them things. Like, I remember reading the book The Crib, and it was a really, really good book. The movie was okay, but I think it was one of them things that if you was going to, the movie was okay, but I think it was one of them things that if you put it in like a play format, wouldn't have been good. And I think that sometimes people try to see things from the same initial form that they saw it, but I'll be definitely curious as to what Elias saying on it. All right, guys, y'all have an amazing one. Yep. Thank you both to drop that chat. If y'all can see, if y'all can just go ahead and click that and sub to Elias' channel, that would be great. What's up, Rock? All right, have an amazing day, guys. We will be seeing you soon. Later on tonight, we as constrictors. Sophisticated ignorance. Peace.